Hi, in this video I'm going to review the Infinity BlackFish, and I'm going to share test results for my testing between four fins, which is the twins, the kicker, and the ventral, and the single fin, which is your traditional, or I would say more common fin configuration. So before getting started, it's important I mention that I am not affiliated with or sponsored by any of the equipment manufacturers mentioned in this video. My intent here is to share how I tested the different fin configurations on my Infinity BlackFish, and to also share my findings and conclusions. It's extremely important I note that your own test results may vary. So I hope you find this helpful. The fins I'm using are Larry Ellison twins, which are 4.5 by 11.5 inches, a 7-inch kicker with a 7 3/4 inch base, and a small ventral, which is 2.5 by 9 inches. The ventral can easily be popped out and inserted with ease, no equipment needed. Same applies for the actual kicker, and it could also take a standard fin with a screw. The twins themselves can be removed using an Allen key, and the Pro Box fin system allows you to swap out the inserts themselves. They're color coded depending on what angle or cant you're looking for. I'm currently using the blue, which gives me as close to a 90 degree as possible. And the single fin that I'm using is a Sup Gladiator Fury, which is a fin designed for the BlackFish and other planing style boards. And I believe Sup Gladiator have done a lot of testing on the BlackFish with this model fin. So before I share the test results, perhaps it's best I provide an overview of how I tested. So the total number of sprints was 20, 10 sprints with the four fins configuration and 10 sprints with the single configuration. Each sprint was repeated with alternating configurations within minutes of each other and under matching conditions. And basically that just meant a lot of trips back and forth to the beach as I swapped fins out. The distances that I used was both a 1/4 mile and a 1/10 of a mile sprint with fixed buoy markers. And I was lucky enough to have different conditions across that 3-day span, which included offshore, onshore, side shore, and both flat and mild to moderate chop. Random turns to ensure fresh starts. Basically, that means as I showed up to the beach fresh and ready to go, I made sure that I alternated the configuration, so I wasn't consistently showing up with the same configuration and starting off fresh. I used both my Garmin 910 XT and a Speed Coach 2 to capture and analyze the data. And then I also leveraged my GoPro session so I could visually count strokes, which sanity checked my Speed Coach, but also it allowed me to observe tracking and count the number of times I actually switched from my left to my right. So now for the test results. Apologies if it's difficult to view there. I'll go through each category. The averages for time on the four fin setup, 2 minutes 8 seconds. On the single fin, 2 minutes 13 seconds. Average speed, 5.2 miles per hour on the four fin versus 5 miles per hour on the single fin. Max speed, 6.5 miles per hour on the four fin setup, 6.4 miles per hour on the single fin setup, and the number of strokes on the four-fin setup was 105 versus an average of 109 on the single fin. And on the GoPro analysis, I counted strokes, and I counted strokes per side. So on the four-fin, it was more even with 61 on the left and 70 on the right, with 6 stroke changes, which is switching from left to right or vice versa. But on the single fin, I observed 73 on the left and 55 on the right, which with 8 stroke changes. And that's something I did struggle with on the single fin before I purchased my four fins. And a lot of times I just found that my power side would really kick the tail out, and I would find myself struggling to track straight. Speaking with a number of people, very common for larger riders, in that a lot of torque is produced, and that tends to slide out a single fin. So that result kind of made sense to me. Overall, if you look at these test results, very, very close and very similar. And some of the heads-to-heads are, I mean, literally just a few seconds apart. I did notice that the max speed was probably the closest, with 6.7 max speed reached across both configurations. So now that you've seen the test results, let me share my conclusions. So with the four-fin configuration, I feel it outperformed the single fin. Definitely noticed an improved stability, which required less effort to balance and manage the board, and also better tracking. Even stroke count per side, absolutely. That was observed using the GoPro footage. And I felt a tighter tail and better projection, especially out of the gate at the start with those, first few powerful strokes. And the tightness in the water, especially in the side chop, outperformed the single fin. Now with the single fin, it matched the four fin top speed. It felt smoother in flat water, especially at top speed while the board was at full plane. However, it did have a lower average of top and average speed. And again, observed uneven stroke counts, which presented some challenges with tracking, especially in the side chop. And the additional strokes to kind of recover the tracking itself definitely was a disadvantage on the single fin. That's all I have for you. I hope you found that helpful. If you liked the video, please click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Stay safe, healthy, and have a good one. Bye now.